Today, let's talk about something very humble, very close to home, the cause and effect of wealth and poverty. Usually, in a crowd like this, if I were to ask if anyone here is literally named rich, go on, raise your hand for me to see. There's at least one person out there somewhere. I think I remember someone from Sadek. Okay then, how about anyone literally named poor? Raise your hand. No one? Not a single person. Absolutely no one is named poor. It's strange, isn't it? I'm 50 years old now and I've traveled to many places in this life. But I have absolutely never found a person named poor. Why is that? Because no parent wants their child to be poor. They place all their hopes in their children because, let's be honest, they themselves love being rich. Everyone wants to be rich. But life doesn't always grant us wealth. Many people struggle tremendously. Many try with all their might to escape the fate of poverty. Just to stand on equal footing with others, but they don't always succeed. There's something that always seems to hold them back until they resign themselves to calling it destiny. A destiny so powerful it can be read on their faces. A fortune teller can look at someone and say, "This person will have some wealth," or "This one is desperately poor." It's so obvious that even I, someone who knows nothing about fortune telling, can get a rough sense of it. So what is this force? It's imprinted on our lives, on our faces, on our very fate. It's a current that's incredibly hard to swim against. Other religions might call it predestination, but in Buddhism we call it karma, the law of cause and effect. So today, let's explore this cause and effect of wealth and poverty, and more importantly, how we can change it. Because nobody wants to be poor. I don't want my followers to be poor. We want everyone to have enough food to eat and clothes to wear, for ourselves and for everyone around us. But the nature of wealth and poverty is incredibly complex. As the Buddha taught, it follows our karma and it's not as simple as we think. For instance, we might have a simplistic view. Oh, that person is rich because they were generous in a past life. And that person is poor because they were stingy. Karma is far more complex than that. It's not always as straightforward as give more, get richer. There are people who gave so much in their past lives. Yet today, they are profoundly poor. We'll explore these different facets today, so we can gain clarity and begin to live our lives more skillfully, more correctly, and truly transform our own karma of wealth and poverty. So, what does a rich person have that a poor person doesn't? The obvious answer is a lot of money, right? But what does that money truly give them? It's the second thing that matters: options. Having a lot of money grants you a vast array of choices in life. This is what people truly crave. Money itself is just paper, and a pile of gold is just a pile of metal. A vast estate is just a lot of grass to mow. But what lies behind these assets, behind the stacks of cash, the gold, the properties, is the power to choose. With that money, you can buy a new car, new clothes. You can afford cosmetic surgery, skin treatments, dye your hair. You can change your house, change your car, some even change their spouse or their lovers. They have the freedom to live a life of indulgence, satisfying even their basest desires. That path is open to them. Or they can use that same money to cultivate immense merit. Instead of spending on themselves, they can perform acts of charity. They can help their community, their country, and the poor. They can make offerings to temples, fund the creation of statues, or support the propagation of the Dharma by helping monks and nuns travel to teach. Money gives them choices, and it is this freedom, this power to choose our path, that makes wealth so desirable. That's the heart of it. And there's another thing: when you're rich, you suddenly have value wherever you go. This is the second major allure. Imagine two people walking into a temple. A temple is a place of boundless compassion and equality. The monks and nuns love everyone, rich or poor. But let's be realistic. When a wealthy person walks in, they are naturally met with more respect. Other followers look at them with admiration. The monastics themselves feel compelled to show them a little more favor, because this person has the means to support the temple in significant ways. But when a poor person walks in, they often go unnoticed. Even if the monks and nuns show them compassion, it is often expressed by trying to help them. The monastics might have to scoop out a few cups of rice from the temple storage for them to take home. They are not looked down upon. But the very act of coming to the temple as someone in need of help inherently lowers their perceived value. In front of others, they feel a sense of shame, of awkwardness, of sadness. So, money becomes intertwined with human value, with dignity. This troubles us. We don't want to be seen as less valuable in the eyes of others. And that is yet another reason we are drawn to wealth, isn't it? And that's not all. These are just the two fundamentals, the freedom of choice and the sense of value. For those who are more ambitious and calculating, money can buy even more. It can be used for bribery and corruption to attain fame, status, and power. Someone with money but little talent can be promoted into the public eye and become famous. There are countless ways money can be used. It's why people say you can almost buy fairies with it. We've talked before about the philosophy of money, but that was about how to use it. Today is about the karma of it. For a Buddhist, we never use money for evil. But at the very least, we should strive not to live a life of misery. We should not allow ourselves to become lowly in the eyes of others. We should not live a life so devoid of options that we are trapped. To want to do something but be unable. To want to buy something but be unable. To want to help someone but be unable. That is the very definition of a loss of freedom. And we do not want to lose our freedom to poverty. To ensure our children and our communities can escape this trap, we must deeply understand the law of cause and effect governing wealth and poverty. Economists have their theories. They might quote the old saying, great wealth comes from heaven, small wealth comes from diligence. Great wealth is seen as a gift of destiny born from strange, unexplainable strokes of luck. Small wealth can be achieved by anyone through hard work and saving. But to attain great wealth, they say you need heaven's help, those lucky breaks you can't explain that suddenly appear, allowing you to seize an opportunity and rise. Economists study this from one angle, but as students of the Buddha, we focus on another, the angle of karma and cause and effect. We know there are specific causes that lead to wealth and specific causes that lead to poverty. And this web of cause and effect is incredibly complex. You cannot make simplistic, one-sided conclusions. You can't just look at a poor person and say, well, you must have been stingy in your past life. That could be a great injustice. There are people who were incredibly generous in their past lives and remain devout today, yet they are still poor. This very paradox has haunted me for my entire life as a monk. I see followers who are so good, so devout, so virtuous, but so poor. It's a puzzle. Someone devout in this life must have been devout in a past life. Someone so good now must have been good before. The karmic seeds have returned. And a good person surely must have sown wholesome seeds. They must have known how to give. So why are they poor? I've wrestled with this, my heart aching for them. A person with such a sincere spiritual heart, why should they have to suffer poverty? For decades, I've sought the answer. And slowly, piece by piece, I began to see. By observing one person, I'd discover one karmic cause. With another, I'd find a different one. I collected these observations, and today, I've brought them all here to Dai Jiak Temple to share with you all the different karmic threads that influence our wealth and poverty. Once you understand them, you have a way to change your destiny. And today, I'll share the secret of how to do it, a way to speed up the process. Because if you don't know how, changing your karma can take a very long time. But with the right method, with sincere repentance for past mistakes and a conscious effort to correct your lifestyle, you can shorten the period of your poverty karma and more quickly achieve a comfortable life. The causes of wealth and poverty. 1. The fundamental cause, generosity versus stinginess. Let's start with the most basic cause and effect. Wealth is born from generosity, and poverty is born from stinginess. This is the foundation. It doesn't mean every poor person today was stingy, nor that every rich person got there by being generous. But it is the fundamental principle. When I say this, it might sound like I'm criticizing the poor. That is not my intention. As we'll see, there are many reasons for poverty. But in a lesson like this, I must lay out every point, and this is the first one. So, who here is poor? Go on, raise your hand. I'm so happy. It seems no one is poor. Maybe 2 or 3. And who here is rich? Raise your hand. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask for your address. See, no one dares. You're afraid I'll ask for your address. The fundamental cause of poverty is stinginess and selfishness. A tight fist and a closed heart, that is the very seed of a poor life. Usually, when you meet someone who is poor and doesn't know Buddhism, you can almost see the history of stinginess on their face. But when I look at my Buddhist followers who are poor, I don't see that mark of stinginess. I know their poverty must come from a different cause. However, I have met people whose poverty was clearly a result of stinginess. I once met a young man who said, "Teacher, my life is so hard. I come to the temple to escape my suffering." I told him, The more you come to the temple, the more you will suffer. Why? He asked. Shocked. Because you were running away from your karma, I explained. The karma of stinginess that you created in this life and past lives. It's written all over you, the tight-fistedness, the selfishness, the difficult nature. It's all there on your face. You come to the temple seeking solace, a feeling of value in a spiritual setting, but it's an escape. The more you run from your karma of poverty, the poorer and more miserable you will become. You must turn around and face it. Transform it by doing good works, by helping people even in small ways. Don't just follow others to the temple for a temporary distraction. That won't resolve your karma. Your karma comes from stinginess. You must confront it and change it. It sounds strange, doesn't it? A monk telling someone not to come to the temple. But for this specific person, that was the necessary medicine. By a strange coincidence that day, he came with a friend, a woman, and the contrast was astonishing. On his face, you could see the clear marks of a stingy, difficult life. But his friend's face was radiant, glowing with elegance, wealth, and generosity. I told her, you will be wealthy for your entire life, and your children and grandchildren will be too, because your heart is so open. You want to help everyone you meet. She simply nodded. The other monks later confirmed she was indeed very wealthy. Her karma was just as visible as his. You had two people, complete opposites, standing side by side. One embodied generosity, the other pettiness. To the wealthy woman, I said, you have overcome material hardship. Now it is time for you to practice, to develop spiritually. One cannot receive the blessing of wealth and just stand still enjoying it. One must use it as a foundation to grow. But to her poor friend, I said, you must first shatter this karma of stinginess. You must transform it and become self-sufficient. Only then can we truly speak of spiritual cultivation. So you see, the spiritual path isn't so simple. It requires a foundation of merit. And this first principle is clear. Wealth comes from an open hand and an open heart. Poverty comes from a clenched fist and a selfish mind. So, let's look at ourselves. Look deep into your own heart and honestly ask, have I been stingy? Selfish? A person with the blessing of wealth naturally has a generous spirit. They find it easy to give and to help. See if you have that quality. You can often spot it early in life. By the time you're 9 or 10, you know if you are a generous person. But if you reach the age of 30 and still haven't found a generous bone in your body, I guarantee you carry the karma of stinginess. What does that look like? When you were a child, did you hide to eat your snack so no one would see? When you shared a cookie, did you make sure to keep the bigger piece for yourself? When someone shared with you, did you eye their piece to make sure you weren't getting the smaller one? That is the seed of it. As an adult, it manifests as always prioritizing yourself, lacking empathy for the suffering of others. Let's say you see a poor woman selling roasted corn. You decide to buy one, but you peel one cob, then another, searching for the best one, leaving the peeled, unwanted cobs for others. You are ruthless in your search for a slightly better cob, haggling over the price, all while ignoring the hardship of the seller who now cannot sell the cobs you've exposed. That is the karma of stinginess in action. And one day you may find yourself on the other side, trying to sell corn. To become a saint in Buddhism, one must first shatter this ego-driven stinginess. It is the very first fetter to be broken on the path to enlightenment. So, even if we are not yet saints, we must begin by sowing the seeds of sainthood, and that means overcoming selfishness. It is the key to escaping both poverty and the endless cycle of ordinary existence. I urge you, please, look into your hearts. If you find even a trace of this within you, don't despair. After this talk, before you leave, go and kneel before the Buddha. Prostrate and pray with a sincere heart. Compassionate Buddha, I am an ignorant being, lost in delusion for countless lives. In this life and in past lives, I may have harbored a stingy and selfish heart. I know this leads to the suffering of poverty and blocks the path to enlightenment. Please, shine your light into my soul, reveal to me the hidden stinginess within, so that I may repent and uproot it. Please guide me so that in this life and all lives to come, I may live with an open heart full of love and generosity for all beings. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Pray like this every day. A prayer from a sincere heart is a powerful force. Bit by bit, the karma of stinginess will be chipped away. Perhaps it will take 3 years, but one day you will find it has vanished, replaced by a life of natural altruism. And I guarantee, From that life forward, you will always be reborn in fortunate circumstances with endless opportunities to rise and live a life of dignity and value. This is the fundamental practice. 2. Karma from one's profession and service. The karma of one's profession is a distinct topic. A civil servant, for example, acts on behalf of the state to serve the people. If they are diligent and dedicated, they may live a simple life on a low salary, but they are sowing the seeds of future wealth. And it's true, the salary of a civil servant has always been low. You might ask, then why are so many officials so rich? It's because a person in a position of power naturally attracts perks and windfalls, even without corruption. Gifts and opportunities find their way to them. Of course, if they bend the law in exchange for those gifts, it becomes corruption, and that's a different, heavier karma. The only famous exception I know of a high-ranking official who was profoundly poor was Makdin Chi. He was a brilliant scholar and martial artist. Yet he suffered a strange and powerful karma of poverty. But for most, a good official who serves the people selflessly will eventually be rewarded. Conversely, an official who uses their power to obstruct and harass the public, who lives for their own indulgence, will eventually lose all their merit, their status, and fall into poverty. That is cause and effect. So, if you or your children are public servants, remember this sacred duty. Your purpose is to serve the people. It is better to be poor with integrity than to cause suffering for personal gain. That is the virtue that will protect your whole family line. 3. The karma of tending to nature. This may come as a surprise, but a person who diligently plants trees will become wealthy, while a person who destroys forests will become poor. Some might think the opposite is true. Spending money to plant trees makes you poor, while cutting them down to sell makes you rich. But reality has proven otherwise. Our ancestors knew this. Think of all the logging companies that have gone bankrupt, their owners mired in debt. The outcome is almost always tragic. I once gave a talk on this, and a man in the forestry service heard it. Before, his job was just to protect the forest. But after hearing the teaching, he started using his own money to buy barren land and plant trees. He wasn't making any profit from it. Yet he noticed that the more trees he planted, the more luck his family had. Money started flowing in from completely different avenues, unexpected business successes his wife had. It's strange, but true. To plant one tree is to sow a root of merit for yourself and for the world. To plant thousands of trees is to plant thousands of roots of merit. This creates immense blessings. So, from now on, even if you're a merchant in a market who has never touched a seedling, find a way to plant trees. But where, teacher? You ask. Don't ask me. Find a way. Pool your resources. Find a barren hill and bring green back to the earth. Know that every tree that reaches for the sky is a testament to the merit you are cultivating. The shade will one day cool your own life. Conversely, I once met a family that owned a pottery business. This requires burning enormous amounts of firewood. I told them, the karma of your profession is the burning of countless forests. The karma of poverty is waiting for you at the end of your life if you do not compensate. Even if they create jobs, the karma of deforestation is immense. I advised them to invest heavily in reforestation to balance this karmic debt. The Buddha himself strictly forbade the destruction of trees. He was one of history's greatest environmentalists. 4. The karma of public works. In a past life, imagine two villages separated by a river. Crossing it is a daily hardship. The village on the far side, cut off from the main town, decides to build a bridge, a monumental task requiring immense effort. The whole village is called to help. Among the young men, 20 of them work with incredible passion and diligence. They stay up late, rise early, and pour all their energy into the project. Another 10, however, are lazy. They dodge the work whenever they can, only showing up when called and disappearing when no one is looking. In the next life, what happens? The 20 diligent men are reborn into tremendous wealth. That single act of selfless public service created enough merit for an entire lifetime of prosperity. The 10 who shirked their duty are reborn into extreme poverty. The lesson here is profound. When an opportunity for a public good, a great meritorious act, appears before you, it is a crossroads. You cannot be neutral. You either engage with diligence and earn great merit, or you avoid it and create the cause for future poverty. A single act of avoiding a clear opportunity for public good can lead to 10 lifetimes of poverty. Just one. Many people who are wealthy today, for reasons they can't explain, may simply be enjoying the fruits of a single, selfless act of public service from a life long ago. 5. The karma of speech, encouraging good versus inciting evil. If in a past life you were a person who constantly encouraged others to do good, son, always be kind, friends, if you see someone in need, you must help, then you created a powerful cause for wealth. In the next life, the people you inspired, who became successful because of your advice, will meet you again. Upon seeing you, they will feel a natural sense of gratitude and affection. They will want to give to you, to support you. Your wealth in this life comes not from your own business, but from the fruits of the good deeds you inspired in others. Most monastics, myself included, live on this kind of karma. We don't run businesses, but we are supported by followers because in past lives, we dedicated our speech to teaching the Dharma and encouraging goodness. The opposite is also true. If you use your speech to incite evil, he wronged you, go burn his house down, or block that path so they can't use it. You create the cause for profound poverty. In the next life, the people you led into ruin will meet you again. But this time, they come as karmic debtors. They will cling to you, endlessly asking for money, draining your resources. Cousin, I'm so miserable. Please help me. They become a constant burden. If you find someone in your life, a relative, a friend, even your own child, who seems to be a bottomless pit of need, it may be because you incited them to do wrong in a past life and now they have come to collect. 6. The karma of offerings to a saint versus to a temple. Imagine 10 lifetimes ago. You stumbled upon a true sage, a monk of deep virtue and meditation, practicing in seclusion. You didn't know the depth of his attainment, but you felt his peaceful, compassionate presence and were moved. Seeing his simple, leaky hut, your heart stirred with respect. Though poor yourself, you gathered materials and helped rebuild his shelter, occasionally bringing him a little rice. He stayed for a few years and then moved on, and you never saw him again. But that single act of pure offering to a genuine practitioner created an ocean of merit. For 10 lifetimes, you have been reborn into wealth and comfort, never knowing why. That 1 can of rice became 1,000,000 cans of rice. That small patch of earth became 1,000 grand estates. And that sage, now an enlightened being in a higher realm, continues to watch over you, guiding you always toward the true Dharma. The reverse is a terrible danger. If one approaches a temple with the intent to exploit or take from it by overcharging for services, deceiving the monastics, or finding clever ways to skim from donations, the karmic consequence is dire. That person is stealing from the triple gem. In the next life, they will be reborn in miserable poverty, a karma that is incredibly difficult to repay. Sometimes they are even reborn as an animal, like a dog, living in the temple to guard it and work off their debt. So when you come to a sacred place, come only to serve and to give. Never be foolish enough to take. This even applies to monastics. A monk who is ordained but does not practice diligently and does not actively create merit will also face the karma of poverty. I have seen it. They believe their robes automatically grant them merit. But karma is impartial. If you do not create merit, you will not have merit. I tell my own disciples, we don't know when we will attain enlightenment. Could take 1,000 lifetimes. So in the meantime, every single day we must create merit. If a day goes by where I only receive food, shelter, care, but do not contribute to the Dharma, I feel my own merit diminishing. It is a dangerous path. 7. Misunderstanding the Dharma. Sometimes, even the most devout people are poor. One reason is a misunderstanding of the teachings. The Lotus Sutra, for instance, says, reciting the sutra brings immeasurable merit. Many people hear this and think, great, I'll just sit and chant all day and my merit will be boundless. They do this, yet in the next life, they are born without rice to eat. Why? They miss the point. The immeasurable merit comes not from the act of chanting, but from understanding the sutra's profound meaning and then living by it for countless lifetimes, living with a heart that respects all beings and serves the world. The merit comes from the action inspired by the sutra, not the recitation alone. This misunderstanding can lead a very devout person to neglect the actual work of creating merit, resulting in poverty. 8. The karma of consumption, living within your means. This is simple mathematics and also profound karmic law. If your income is 3 million a month and you spend 3.5, you will be poor. If your income is 4 million and you spend 3, you will save 1 million and gradually become wealthy. In karmic terms, this means if you enjoy less than the merit you have, you will accumulate merit. If you enjoy more than the merit you have, you will go into karmic debt. This is why you must never borrow money to fund a lifestyle you cannot afford. Borrowing is enjoying a future merit that is not yet yours, and the karmic interest is heavy. I have seen people mortgage their beautiful home to start a business. They are now enjoying 2 blessings from the merit of 1. They still live in the house and they are now a company director. Their merit is 1, but their enjoyment is 2. The result? Almost invariably, the company fails and they lose the house. Do not do this. Unless you have a massive store of hidden merit from past lives about to ripen, you are setting yourself up for disaster. Live within your means. Frugality is a virtue that ensures prosperity. 9. The karma of wastefulness. Poverty comes from waste. Leaving lights on, letting water run. Throwing away food, every drop of wasted water is a drop of future poverty you are creating for yourself. Every wasteful act depletes your merit. In contrast, thriftiness creates the merit of a comfortable life. King Yama, the judge of the underworld, might say of a soul, "This woman did not create great, obvious merit, but in her life, she was incredibly frugal. She wasted nothing. For this virtue, reward her with a lifetime of prosperity." He might then say of another, "This man was not stingy, but he was incredibly wasteful. He threw money around, spent extravagantly on everything. Send him to be reborn in a leaky straw hut. Let him learn the value of things. Be mindful of every resource." 10. The karma of association. Helping the wrong people. Simply giving money away does not guarantee the merit of wealth. If you give money to a bad person who then uses it to gamble, drink, or cause harm, you share in their negative karma. You will be dragged down into poverty with them. So be discerning. Before you give, make sure your gift will be used for wholesome purposes, to live, to practice, or to do good. Do not fund evil. 11. The karma of leadership, caring for your workers. If you are fortunate enough to be a business owner, you have a great responsibility. Your success comes not only from your capital and skill, but from the hard work of your employees. If you get rich and then forget them, hoarding your profits, buying gold and land for yourself while paying them barely enough to survive, you are creating a terrible karma. You are exploiting the very people who made you wealthy. That wealth will not last. You will lose everything, and your descendants will be poor. But if you treat your employees with love and care, if you see their well-being as your own and share the fruits of your success generously, you create the cause for lasting wealth. You will be a leader for life after life. 12. The karma of yielding versus grasping. Wealth comes from knowing when to yield gracefully. Poverty comes from grasping wrongly. Imagine a father dies without a will. The brothers fight over the inheritance. One brother, driven by greed, claims the largest share. Another feels cheated and wants to fight. But the youngest sibling says, "Stop. Brother, take my share. Let there be peace. My education from our parents is my inheritance. I can make my own way." He walks away with nothing. 30 years later, he returns in a fine car. He finds his greedy brother living in a shack, having sold the land long ago. The one who yielded for the sake of harmony was rewarded with immense prosperity. The one who grasped unrighteously was reduced to poverty. This yielding, when done for a righteous reason, creates enormous merit that can last for lifetimes. How to transform your karma. The 4 golden rules for those experiencing poverty. If you are currently facing poverty, please know that it can be a gift. Yes, a gift from heaven and earth. Because it offers lessons the wealthy may never learn. This is why true practitioners often choose a simple, poor life. Poverty has its own unique, profound beauty. Here is how to transform its karma. First rule. Never wish to be rich. Our suffering comes from the clash between our reality, poverty, and our desire, wealth. This friction is what torments the soul. So, the first step is to let go of the desire. Do not crave wealth. Like me, I have many projects that need money, but I do not crave it. If it comes, I will use it for the Dharma. If it does not, I am at peace. Be indifferent to wealth. Second rule, know that poverty is from a past mistake. You don't need to know the specific mistake. Simply holding the understanding. My current situation is the result of a past error, is a profound and silent act of repentance. There is no blame, only acceptance of cause and effect. This humility is transformative. Third rule, use poverty to open your heart. This is the great gift. Only through experiencing hardship can you truly and deeply empathize with the suffering of others. A rich person can pity, but they can rarely feel the ache of poverty in their bones. This empathy is the source of all great art, poetry, and compassion. It allows you to love the world in a way the comfortable cannot. Rejoice in this ability. Fourth rule, give even when you have little. The merit of a rich person giving $1 million cannot compare to the merit of a poor person sharing 5,000 dong to help another get through a hungry day. This act of giving from a place of lack is incredibly precious. It is a virtue the wealthy cannot easily cultivate. If you live by these 4 rules, I promise you your life will begin to change. And when it does, be very mindful of the 5th danger, arrogance. The 5 golden rules for the unfortunately rich. If you are unfortunate enough to be wealthy, you also have rules to follow. Money is responsibility, not indulgence. Wealth is not a license for enjoyment. It is a weight of responsibility placed upon your shoulders. The richer you are, the greater your duty to the world. To think otherwise is a grave mistake that leads to ruin. Be elegant, not arrogant. Your position may grant you a certain dignity and grace. Embrace that. But never let it curdle into arrogance or contempt for others, especially those with less than you. The poorer a person is, the more you must respect them. This humility is what sustains your blessings. Be generous, not wasteful. Use your wealth wisely. Give freely, but ensure every dollar is used for a good purpose. Do not be like the prodigal son, throwing money away on frivolous things. That is how fortunes are lost. Help often, but never show off. Helping others is your duty. Do it quietly. The moment you do it for praise or recognition, the merit is diminished. You must pursue spiritual practice. You have already been blessed with material comfort. Your remaining responsibility is to use that stable foundation to throw open the doors of spiritual cultivation. Meditate. Seek enlightenment. You have been given the perfect conditions to become a saint. Do not waste them by remaining entangled in the ordinary world. Wealth and poverty are not permanent states. The rich who are arrogant will fall. The poor who are virtuous will rise. Even if you are rich, you must still engage in humble work. Go out and pick up trash. Help repair a road with your own hands. Do not think, I can just pay someone to do that. By engaging in fundamental, humble labor, you keep your roots in the earth and ensure your merit remains stable. So today, we see that the web of cause and effect is vast and complex. No one can grasp it all, but we can begin to understand the principles. And so, to close, I offer my best wishes. I wish for Dai Jiak Temple to become ever more prosperous. I wish for all the monks and nuns here to become ever more prosperous. I wish for all of you, my followers, may the poor become well-off. May the well-off become rich, and may the rich become even richer. But above all, whether we are rich or poor, let us remember one thing. We are all children of the Buddha. And as his children, let us vow to forever and always love one another.